it's doing more together than you can ever have done separately.
Absolutely.
And that's the definition we use.
Anne, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I think we haven't really defined what we mean by collaboration, so lots of people have talked about it being one thing and another thing. We've also talked a lot about it being driven by the economy, and we've talked about the fact that it doesn't actually necessarily save costs. I think we've also gotten a bit of a muddle about who should collaborate with whom. Should the big fish be with the little fish, or should all the little fish be together, or should there be no big fish and just little fish? Or so we're in a bit of a muddle. I think the economic environment will mean that some of the little fish will probably flounder, and I think that's a real shame. I've got a really serious point. Which is a real shame, because I think they do some of the very best work. So, and if they can get, it frustrates me when I do hear organisations coming to me for support and they're doing exactly the same as somebody else, and I say, oh, fantastic, you need to speak to them, and them, and I know they don't often have the capacity to speak to them, and that's a bit of a frustrating place to be.
And isn't it true that sometimes if they do speak to each other, they realize they're in direct competition and that they really can't collaborate because of the way their funding is set up or otherwise?
Yes, it's like, I really want to do it this way. I really want to do it this way.
Yeah, or I want my logo on it, and you want your logo on it. Yeah. All right. Well, in the interest of staying on time today, I know it would be wonderful. We have something over here.
Yeah,
all right. Alison, you get last word, okay, and then I get the official last word.
Sorry. A couple of things. The thing about the you know that thing about collaborating and who. Unequal partnerships, I think we can all think of things where somebody is in it and can, drive it, and the funder likes them because they're big, they're national, and they want other people because that's a tick box. They can't do it without them. But actually it's an unequal relationship, and, what happens is the money goes off and nobody's really monitoring what happens with that. Is it working for those small organisations, or are they just used as the thing? And the other thing that happens is it's all well and good saying, oh, you should talk to them and you should work with them, which people often do. I'm standing around lots of people that people talk with, and it's not a formal thing. But actually, what funders are also guilty of is they give people really specific outputs that they have to report on. So sometimes you're not able to do it because you have to own those outputs, and you can't do it with somebody else because you've got to share those outputs then. And so funders are sort of wanting it to happen for their own sort of needs, but also what they don't realise is that they put restrictions on people doing it as well.
So there is some complexity coming to you, Anne, about what are we. Somebody raised points here around the definition of collaboration, but there's also the complexity of, are you fully collaborating, in other words merger, or are you collaborating on projects, and how is that affected by your other funding and other priorities? Complex. I guess that the closing point that I think that I would make is that we're not talking actually enough about this. That in fact there are lots of pockets of discussion around collaboration, most often around those of us who are looking to collaborate. But that as a sector, we really need to figure out if we want to raise the level of discussion on this, or whether we want to stay on that side of the spectrogram and basically acknowledge, look, this doesn't work, and let's just move on and get our work done. So